get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show.
What if we didn't look away and we were able to call out poor behaviour rather than just ignore it or put up with it? In this part of our conversation, Baz, Giselle, Natalie and Tanja from Maverick Tech Data talk to me about things that they've witnessed, how they handled it, and we just share our experiences and thoughts about how we could actually do better. Hope you enjoy it.
Touching on skills and some of the things that you've all mentioned, actually. Have any of you had to deal with a performance management issue where actually or have, you know, where it is based around skills, but actually that person may have felt that they were being unfairly discriminated against, or have you witnessed anything like that?
So I have a fellow manager of mine had a situation where they had to performance improvement plan, and it led down to a dismissal, with which the person appealed. And when they appealed, they brought things like characteristics such as their mental health and things like that into the conversation, and it was then overturned, and that person then kept their role, and that my friend, the manager, had to then work and develop that person. So it was a really tricky situation for both parties, I think, really. So that's the only thing I can think of that I'm aware of that's happened. I've been quite fortunate that if I've performanced someone, they've either turned it around or they've been dismissed, but it's been, I hope, completely fair, because it's only been based on their skill set. But I think there is a perception from people that are being put on a performance review that it might be a personal attack rather than a skill problem. So I think as a manager you have to be so careful. I think it comes down to the way it's managed, in my opinion, is that if you manage it properly, that person will have no it will be completely clear that it's to do with their skills, not anything else. But yeah, it does happen, because I've heard of occasions where things have been overturned like that.
Yeah, same. And I think that being clear with people and having that clear communication is so key to that, because actually it could be really damaging for that person as well. So it and there's a misunderstanding around it, because I've heard the other side of the same coin, where a manager felt they couldn't go down the route of putting measures in place to develop a person's performance, because they felt so worried that that person would think, because that person had actually recently come out as transgender, and and actually it was nothing to do with that. Their performance and their output at work was not strong enough, but that manager actually didn't manage that person. And so the friction in that team grew and grew, because other people then became resentful that that person's getting away with it because of their diversity. So and this is a friend of mine, not in our industry, who had to deal with that. And she did put her hands up and say, I did not know as a manager how to performance manage my team member, because that became a barrier, because I didn't want them to think it was because of their their gender. And it just people, and that's where, I think I said at the beginning, having those challenging conversations and actually being open and actually sharing with that person that they're completely comfortable with that, and now let's talk about your work and what can we do. This is what you were supposed to do, these were your targets, or this is what we needed to achieve as a team and it didn't happen, or these are errors or whatever. How are we going to improve that? And actually keeping the conversation completely focused on the work, the output, and the facts that are there. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But I think we tie ourselves, we do it to ourselves. We tie ourselves up thinking, oh my God, I can't say that. I'd like to push that a little bit more. So have any of you witnessed anything where you've actually seen something that wasn't right? And I think the group I've got here, you seem like you would step up actually, but I know when I was younger, I witnessed things and I didn't step up, and that's kind of spurred me now to speak more, because I worked with somebody who was excluded, openly excluded from things because she had a facial disfigurement. And so she was an internal and she was never chosen to go out and do any of the shows, to meet the customers or anything. And I heard managers say, oh no, we don't want to take her. And it was not a disability. It did not stop her from performing. She was one of the best people I'd worked with. I didn't at that age have the confidence to actually speak up to my managers, because I was also worried about my own job. I think, oh, I don't want to be the one causing trouble here. And it was a long time ago, so it was a different. I'm hoping people are a bit more confident, but my gut feeling is that they're not. People don't want to rock the boat. If they see something, they kind of think, it's happening there, it doesn't affect me, it's not even in my team, it doesn't affect my job, I'm not getting involved. They look the other way. So,
or maybe they think more, does this really happen right now? I know how you can feel if you're not perfect or not right or always too much or always, so
yeah,
I think this will happen all the day, and if you're in those situations, on some point maybe you do not really recognize, is this happening right now?
So
Does
if
this
you were
really
in
take
that call,
place?
if you're in that call now, how would you challenge that? Did you know the other people who were on the call?
Yeah, maybe.
So if you could reverse time and you were there now, how would you deal with it? Because it's really hard.
It is indeed, because they're a customer as well. And you have to say, hey guys, maybe you have to say, this is not fun anymore. If you step into her shoes, imagine how she could feel. Yeah, maybe I should say that, or maybe I should take her with me and say, hey guys, this is not fun anymore, and we go outside of this circle then. I don't know what is the right way, but it is not, you could not do wrong or you could not do right, but you should say something. So, and from my perspective right now, if that would happen again, maybe I would say, hey guys, I couldn't laugh about this. It is not fun. And then I'm the bad guy, and I don't care about that, honestly, because.
No, me too. Anybody else have any suggestions of in that situation, what you would, or if you have actually challenged anybody?
No, I think it was also interesting what Tanja said, is that you kind of said that there's a bunch of people together, a bunch of people. And you said, yeah, there's it was a customer saying, doesn't matter if it's a customer, we're all human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where it should be. And I feel how uncomfortable it would be. So you can choose either to step into the group and say, I really feel uncomfortable with this. But then you also know that, or it might happen that somebody will say, there's Tanja,
Mm-hmm.
you get that kind of arrest. And the other thing is that take the person who said it just in a one-to-one and said, this really feels uncomfortable. And then yeah, but no, it's really not good. And again, Tanja, I think what you did was also very right to give just 2 or 3 days later a call, and just express, because I think it will hurt always, or it will always give some
True.
A negative feeling.
I think it's interesting that she laughed it off. I think I've been in that situation where a sexist comment has been made, or something general has been made, and you do laugh it off. You do say, oh, it's fine. But the reality is it's not fine. And it's not necessary. Sometimes it's not until someone points it out, like Tanja, called the lady that was affected. Sometimes it's not until that point where someone goes, oh, actually, that's not cool, that's not okay, that you then start thinking, oh yeah, why do I put up with that? And I think because not so much these days, but again, when I was younger, when the landscape was very different and it was more male orientated, unfortunately, when it was a lot of younger men together, it would be quite easy for them to make comments like that. But I found that I had to almost become one of the lads and laugh with them for it to be acceptable. And actually, I wish that I had been, like you said, Iffat, I wish I had been more confident back then, because I probably would say it now, but not so much then.
But it's the looking the other way that concerns me, when people actually see things that are happening and they don't have the confidence to speak up and actually find those words. And I'm just reflecting on what you were saying about that meeting, Tanja. And I think possibly one way around it, I don't know, maybe if somebody said something, I would have just gone directly to that person and said in the call, say it was you, Natalie, I would have just said, Natalie, are you okay with that? Because I wouldn't use that. Or, and I would just directly, and I would actually embarrass the rest of the people on that group in that way, hopefully, by just saying, oh, hang on 1 minute. Because you're right, some things you laugh off, and growing up, I mean, my parents, I remember my mother actually actively not responding to racism. We were, you just didn't, and now I'm glad that our children actually do step up, and that generation are actually less tolerant of that language.
I don't ever slow up, no, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll